Hello and welcome back to Tales from the Big Pig. It's been a hot minute, I know, and there's been an awful lot going on. But have you ever poured your heart and soul into something and then after everything was said and done said, we could do better than this? That happened to us. We ended up getting rid of the first big pig and we've started on a second big pig. The first one, if you've been following the channel, was a 1995 ambulance. Most of the wiring and everything was already in it, and that was kind of cool that we didn't have to run all these wires. All we had to do is repurpose the wires that were in there, and we kept most of the cabinetry. However, we had 5 reasons to get rid of the thing, and I'll outline those things now. Reason number 1 was this is a diesel, and I am not familiar with diesel engines at all. Anybody that knows me knows that they kind of scare me. Going to do some diesel thing 500 miles from home, and I wouldn't know what to do with it. There was additives to it, and quite frankly, it did not like to start even if it was 55 degrees or below. So there was that. So be out in the middle of the wilderness somewhere and putting out an SOS didn't exactly appeal to me. And then there was the fact that we white-knuckled it everywhere we went. It was driving a big monster truck, and it sounded like a truck. It was not comfortable to drive. It was a dream to live in. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely fabulous that way. But when it came right down to getting from point A to point B, I didn't trust it as far as I could pick it up and throw it, I swear. And that is reason number 3. My wife would not drive it. There is no way in the world I'm going to end up driving this thing by myself on 8-9-hour treks. So that's 3 reasons. Number 4, I could not stand up inside of it. I had to, anyway, it was not 6'2" on the inside. It was more like 5'9". And lastly, the age and the logo that's on the side. I guess you've seen the Big Pig. That's where it got its name in the first place. This was not a stealth vehicle. Anywhere we went, we had people coming over and telling us, "Oh, hey, we love this. Oh, can I take my picture with it?" It's like, we just wanted to camp out. We did a little bit of that. We went around and around. We would give them tours of the thing, and that's great. You like to be appreciated for what you've done, but quite frankly, I would just like for people to not notice it at all, that we're over there camped out. Well, lo and behold, we, out of the blue, decided, hey, we could get a van. There's Sprinters, there's Ford Transits, there's Ram Promasters. Facebook had a sale listing for a bunch of Ram Promasters that were for sale for a local heating and air conditioning place over in Benton. We went over there to look at those. They every once in a while trade out their entire inventory for a new set and get rid of the old ones. Now, quite frankly, and you'll see from the listing that I've got, the original listing of them, there was only one 3500 in there, Ram Promaster 3500, which is a 1-ton truck. And they had all these things listed. They had varying mileages, but the 3500 was the only one they had that was in there, and it was listed at 90 some odd thousand miles. But it was $8,000, whereas the others were anywhere from $11,000 to $13,000, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, first reason is this one's a little dented up. Now, this has unusual dents in it because it was carrying huge air conditioners in there. Therefore, the dents are on the inside out, where they bounced around and so forth. So I think those I ought to be able to fix, but I can live with them the way they are because they're not majorly big. And the second thing was, they suspect there might be something wrong with the transmission. Now, we checked in advance, and the transmission is the weak point on Ram Promasters. If you get one, you can count on having a problem with the transmission further on down the line. So we took that into account. But they had knocked this thing down $4,000 to $6,000 less than the others. Plus, it had less than half the mileage all the others had. I really wondered about that. And they just said, well, The transmission on this one is suspect. They said they felt like it was slipping a little bit or doing something strange. With that understanding, we went ahead and pulled the money out of the retirement and made the deal, a bunch of jumping through hoops and so forth, and went over and made the purchase. And wouldn't you know it, a week later, it threw a code, I think 043 or something like that, a death rattle for the transmission. Unbelievably, we laughed about it. That's exactly what we expected. So we ended up buying a new transmission for it. Now, the people that did the transmission on it said, oh, by the way, did you know this has been underwater? No, yeah, the transmission's got water in it. It's been submerged before. But the good news on this is it's got a brand new engine. So I've got a brand new engine and a brand new transmission on a van with 90 some odd thousand miles on it. I think I got a bargain. And we've been going from there. Now, an interesting little story on the thing is when we went over to pick this van up, we were getting ready to drive away, and the guy came out and said, oh, by the way, if you ever have a problem with the air conditioner not running, first thing you want to check is there's a little sensor underneath the driver's side mirror that is a temperature sensor. If that goes out, your air conditioner will quit. And I was like, yeah, gee, thanks. Is that likely to happen? No, just thought you should know. Fast forward another 5 hours, and we walk into the church, and my pastor is sitting there discussing with someone. He just spent thousands of dollars getting his transmission replaced on his Ram truck. And was not happy about it. Went out, climbed into the truck, and the air conditioner wasn't working. I said, is it a Ram? He said, yeah. I said, funny thing is, somebody just told me there was a sensor that was like, he went, what? Well, I'll have to check that. We showed him where it would be and so forth. We didn't hear another word about it. The next Sunday, guess who's in the middle of the sermon there? Oh, by the way, I had trouble with this truck, and you know the way the Lord works. Chuck Wilson and his wife walked in there and said, hey, have you got a Ram Promaster? Yes, I've got a Ram. He said, check this sensor here, and wouldn't you know, a $10 sensor. 2-3 mechanics looked at the thing and couldn't get it fixed, but this $10 thing, they just happened to have one over at the O'Reilly's, put it in there, and it fixed it immediately. Anyway, so when we went over to check out the truck, before we actually even got out of there, I got into the back, looked around, it was pretty scuffed up on the inside, and then I went and laid down in the back sideways. And the guy that was selling it said, what are you doing? He said, I'm seeing if the bed will fit in here lengthwise. We want to put it in the back, and it'll be a king-size bed. He said, in all the trucks I've ever sold, I've never had anybody climb in the back and lay down in the back to see if it would fit. Well, guess what? Here's a picture of the bed the way it's supposed to look, and it does fit. The next hurdle that we had to hit was getting rid of the ambulance. That was not an easy task. We took it over to a local RV place, and they contracted with us to sell it on the lot. They called us back a week later to tell us, come get this thing, we can't sell it. It's not, nobody's even interested in it. What they didn't tell us at the time was that one of the brand new batteries, and by the way, there were 2 in there, one of the brand new batteries that we'd put in there had gone bad. It was under warranty, but I didn't know about it, and it would not start when it came to somebody wanting to look at it. We replaced that and it fixed it, but by then it was too late. So we put it on Facebook and every place we could think of. And lo and behold, a nice couple decided that they were interested in the ambulance, but not as a camper. She was going to turn it into a mobile hair salon. She's going to work bridal venues, by driving to the wedding itself and working on the bridesmaids and so forth hair right there in the parking lot. Now that is a great idea, and I think that's a fantastic thing. So the big Razorback logo on the side of it ends up being an attractive pull for people rather than a distraction for somebody that's trying to sneak off to the woods somewhere. It was a perfect fit. We've only had a couple of calls since then going, wait a minute, how does this work and what is that? But more or less, they've taken care of it. I think the first call I got was, hey, it's cold outside, it won't start. Did you plug in the heater? Well, I have now. It's a little too late. So it took a while for them to get it started. Plus the fact that it has 2 batteries, so they have to put the jumpers on the positive one battery and the negative of the other, and the whole 9 yards. The couple that ended up buying it, when they came out, it's amazing. Have you ever noticed that when you can't get anybody to pay attention to it, but when you have something for sale and somebody finally shows interest. Then all of a sudden everybody else wants to look at it. Well, at the exact time that this person wanted to look at the ambulance, we had 2 other sets of people that wanted us to give them a call if it didn't go through, because they were suddenly interested. Now, we're talking, 2 months that we've had this ProMaster sitting here waiting on this to get gone so we could get started. So there wasn't an awful lot of room for them to negotiate when they got there. They were like, well, we'll offer you less for this. Like, no, sorry. If I were to take this and strip it down, use all the parts on the new one, I would have to spend more money buying those parts if I sold it for less. So the amount of money that I would lose on selling it any lower, I just can't do it. And they were like, well, we're going to go over and look at a couple more and have lunch, and we're going to discuss it. I said, that works out perfect, because I got 2 more people that are coming over to look at it. Oh, wait, hang on just a second. You know, I had this stuff, came over and said, never mind, we want this. Let's do it. So it was sold. They bought. We got the promissory from them and so forth. They didn't drive off with it, and they had to get it out of their credit union. So it was really cute, though, the way that I kept getting a message. Okay, here's a copy of the screen that says that it's in the bank now, and here's a copy of the screen saying it's in there. Okay, we've got the money there. We're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to pick it up. So it all worked out well. They started up, drove away, and everything was fantastic. We were promised that it was going to a very good home, and from what we can tell, it has. I am really excited to see what it's going to be in the future. I hope I get to see what they do with it when they finished. But in the meantime, sad to see it go, but at the same time, we're excited for the new adventure. So now we have a big Ram Promaster, and we're starting over, and we're doing a bunch of things differently that we learned about when we were making the last one. Most importantly is that you don't need to see another video about how I turned my Ram Promaster into an all full-time dwelling, blah, 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 you know, and here's how I did the wiring. You don't need to see that. What I wanted to let you know is we're making progress on this. We're going to go out. We're going to spend our retirement years enjoying this thing. And here's some of the unique things we've done. If I find out some important things that you need to know that are tips and tricks for getting the thing, like I've got one for the roof rack I'll be putting out here in the very near future. You're going to want to see this. Some of the special hurdles that we met on this one. For instance, when we got it, there was an 1/8-inch steel plate on either side of the inside that we had to get rid of. I mean, it was heavy, like about 300-400 pounds. We had to take that over to the recycle plant, drove it over there. That's when we began to see there was a problem with the transmission, because that's when it threw the code coming back. Again, that's a rather unique experience to just sit here and go, yes, there it is, knowing that we were going to end up being faced with that in the first place. Now that that's gone, we don't have to worry about it anymore. And we've got a practically new van with a few dents and dings on it and so forth, but the integrity is fantastic. I would like to give a big shout out to Kip over at ProMasters Only. I will be buying his app here pretty soon that goes along with the ODBC sensor that plugs in underneath the dashboard. Because the big weakness on the ProMaster is the transmission. Well, this will keep tabs on the temperature of the transmission. That's what destroys them, from what I understand. So I was watching his YouTube video, because when we took the van in to have the transmission worked on, they said we could not clear the codes in it because the fans, and it has a pair of them over the radiator, one of them had burned out the bearings and was worn out and needed to be replaced. That one we took care of ourselves. We went and bought a brand new set from Rock Auto and put it in ourselves using ProMasters Only YouTube videos on how to do it. And it went without much of a problem. And we enjoyed that immensely. So shout out to Kip, and we'll be using him a lot more in the future. There'll be a link down below. After that, we're going to end up doing all the interior, the wiring and so forth. The solar panels we've already dealt with that are on the roof rack. We'll go over how we did that. And we're going to try to transfer this over to the new vehicle over in Arkansas. This remains with you no matter what. It doesn't go with the vehicle, so it didn't go with the ambulance. We're going to keep that. This one is, I have to admit, the ambulance never had a name. It was the Big Pig. Well, this is the Big Pig too, but this one's going to be named Babe. It's a different kind of a pig. Hope to see you all again soon, and we're going to try to keep a little better schedule on here because I really honestly feel guilty about not recording anything. This is kind of a burden to stop what you're doing to put it on tape, but thank you all for your patience, and we'll see you again soon. Until then, so long.